Día de Fútbol in English means Day of Soccer. Calling it the Día de Fútbol was intended to speak the language of the community that we were attempting to attract to our campus. Soccer is the world's most popular sport. There are billions of soccer fans and hundreds of millions of soccer players all over the world. It is something that allows people to make immediate connections from all walks of life. It's something that transcends class and race and ethnicity and religion and gender. The Día de Fútbol is sort of organized chaos. We have a number of different activities going on throughout the year to get ready for the actual event.
I'm going to be in charge of registration and icebreakers, and these are the two things that happen at the very beginning of the day, where I think it sets up the tone for the rest of the day. So you really have to be yourself and remind yourself why you're there, and really just being inviting and happy and excited about it. And what I do at registration is just give a name tag to the kids and then pair them with a college student buddy. That's going to be their buddy for the rest of the day. And then for icebreakers, we just go around and let the kids introduce themselves and talk about what they like and just get to know the people they're going to spend the rest of the day with.
After an icebreaker to start the morning off, we then split the kids up into groups, and the college students each take a group, and they've come prepared with some books that they'd like to read and share with the kids, and we encourage the parents also to be a part of that and to participate in the discussion of the book afterwards and asking questions. Sometimes the students choose bilingual books, sometimes they choose just English books or Spanish books, depending on the college students' language proficiency. And we also share with them handouts, bilingual handouts to the parents about reading in the home and activities they can do in the home to promote literacy and read aloud and share books with their children.
After we've gotten through the literacy activity, we move into sort of simultaneous activities, and the children go to the soccer clinic, and we have our student volunteer coaches working with them, often one-on-one.
The soccer clinics are usually run by volunteers from club soccer. So those are just like little drills, little clinics for the kids to do, and then they have a kind of tiny kids scrimmage. And then we also have a larger soccer game for the adults and the older kids after lunch.
Then the adults are given the opportunity to have a linguistic, cultural exchange with Washington College students, staff, and faculty. So we have sort of two areas. We have an English-speaking area and a Spanish-speaking area. So those who want to practice their English go to the English area, and those who want to practice their Spanish go to the Spanish area.
This is the first year that I'll be the point person for conversation. So what I'm doing and my fellow volunteers are doing is just chatting with the families. I really enjoy this because you're just talking to people. You're meeting people. You're finding out where they're from, what they do, what their kids' names are, like what their kids are studying. It's just talking to people and meeting people that you might not get a chance to meet under other circumstances.
After the kids have had a chance to play a game with goals, and often with the student volunteer coaches playing with them, we move on to lunch, and we have a shared meal with all of the volunteers and everyone from the community who showed up.
And this year I'm the point person for the food, which we order from a local Latino market, and she has cooked for us in past years. So I'll go pick up the food and set it up along with other volunteers and just make sure everybody has food and pass it out.
And it's usually a big hit. I mean, the college students love it. It's very authentic, homemade, and it's, you know, it's a great time for the kids, our college students, their parents to kind of all sit down together, hopefully, and continue with interacting, you know, in a positive way over a meal, and kind of continue some of that intercultural exchange as well.
Our primary objective is to try and create a bridge, right, between the local community and the college. And intercultural exchange is one of our primary objectives, and getting people to sort of break down barriers and get to know people who are different from them and learn from each other.
I mean, we are in each other's backyards, and I think at times it can feel as though we're worlds away, right? The college campus can feel so drastically different from the larger Chestertown community, and vice versa. And however, those of us who live here in the community kind of realize that, no, there's a lot of overlap, and we also need to work with helping to make that overlap be positive, so that the students get to know the larger community and vice versa. And this is one event in which we hope that that's happening for our college students, but also for the larger community.
One of the most wonderful parts of the Dia de Fútbol is bringing elementary school and middle school and even high school aged local children to campus and being able to spend a day on campus and partner up with some of our Washington College students and get a sense of what it's like to be on campus. And I mean, it's like they're going to, they come to the stadium here and get to play on the field, and the students are sort of, they're heroes for the day. So that's a really exciting part of the day. While the Dia de Fútbol has educational benefits for all students, since I teach Spanish and Latin American culture, it's very important to give the students an opportunity to practice their Spanish in real-life situations, and also to learn about Latin American culture from Latin Americans and Latinos. And so the Dia de Fútbol allows for the students to do both of those things. I like to sell the Dia de Fútbol as an opportunity to go abroad for the day, right? And so when we're saying intercultural exchange, we mean that, and it's an opportunity to really come and experience a different culture and a different value system. And I think, you know, allowing the students to take more responsibility for the running of the event, the organization of the event, is giving them a sense of responsibility, empowerment, and they're learning valuable professional and life skills.
It's an opportunity for them to have that personal interaction with somebody who they may, in another situation, have never had that opportunity. And it can be really powerful in that sense to, you know, all of a sudden put, you know, a name and a face to larger social issues. So when we talk about immigration, or we talk about the Latino population, or the larger immigrant population here in the United States, that now they have an actual personal experience to kind of connect to those larger issues. And I think that can be really powerful for our students.
That's right, and it goes both ways. I see very powerful experiences for the Latinos that are coming as well, who often are very shy and not sure what they're doing here and a little uncomfortable. And they start talking with our students, and I mean, you see it. Like, there's a moment where they start feeling more comfortable, and it's like, oh, there are different types of gringos too, right? Because, you know, their interactions are not always as friendly as they might be at the Dia de Fútbol.
A lot of the Latino community, they think because it's a private college, they're not allowed here, but that's not true. We would love them to come, and that's great about having DDF football here. So they know that it's open and they can come. Like we make sure that they know of all the resources that are open to the public on campus. So.
Yeah, we have a brochure that, you know, what the swimming pool hours are, like when you can come to the dining hall, when you can come to the library. And, you know, we've passed it out and people will be like, we're allowed to do that? Yeah, of course. So that's one thing that's really great. And also just, you know, when you go and maybe if you see these people outside of campus. When I was at the church this past weekend for an outreach event, I was handing out flyers and people were telling me, oh, this is the thing that Shawn, Professor Stein does. And I was like, yeah, that he's involved with this. And they're like, how's he doing? You know, how's his wife? Did he cut his hair? I heard he cut his hair. Is that true? So it's just, it's making friends, honestly, and it's extending that friendship outside of campus.
I think that receiving feedback from students is I don't expect it for about 10 years. It takes a while for students to be able to reflect on the experiences that they've had here. I see it, right? I see what's happening, and I know that those who participate in the Dia de Fútbol, so our organizing council and our volunteers who are involved in the fundraising, the outreach, and the actual Dia de Fútbol, are having invaluable experiences.
I think it's been really powerful the past couple of years and very rewarding for me, and I know for Shawn as well, to kind of work with the same group of students for 2 or 3 years in a row planning the event, because we see it evolve with, you know, as they're also evolving as student leaders. You know, I'd like for that to continue as well, as far as, you know, drawing some students in during their first or second year here so that it becomes something that they want to be committed to. And it's not just, I'm just going to go for 1 year and then be done, but that it's, you know, it's something that they strive to really be actively involved in and actively improve over their time here.
I got involved with Dia de Fútbol because I had Professor Stein for Spanish last year, so he really promoted it, and that's how I got involved. But my future career goals are to be something medical, doctor, physician's assistant, I'm not sure yet, but I want to, once I get that certification, I want to go to Latin America and do mission trips. So Dia de Fútbol definitely helps because, I mean, you get to see their culture because it's a whole family together, and you get to really observe them rather than just one person. So it's really great. It's a lot of planning, but on the day of, you see that it all pays off. Just seeing all the kids, they're so happy, and it's just the whole day comes together and it's successful, and it's a really good feeling to know that you had a big part in that planning and to make it that successful. It's
Volunteering on the day itself definitely helps your Spanish skills, because the more you talk with other people, the more you improve your own skills, so that's a valuable aspect. But I also really appreciate just the basic conversation and people skills that I think I've picked up and developed as a volunteer in this event, because you might not get a chance to talk to these people under other circumstances. So it teaches you like what kinds of questions to ask, what kinds of questions to be able to answer. You know, I've had some people ask me about like what's college like, and how do I answer that question? You know, like, well, this is what I do, this is what I hope to do with my life having come to college. You know, just human interaction and sharing on a pretty basic and enjoyable level. The first year I just did this event because it was a club event, and I was like, okay, I'll do my part, I'll participate. And then my Spanish was not so great. It was freshman year. My first day, I was speaking as if I'd been speaking my whole life. I was meeting these really cool people. I actually would start speaking in Spanish to people who didn't actually speak Spanish, and I'd have to stop and back up and say, oh, I'm so sorry, because I was so excited to have the opportunity to meet these people and hear about where they were from and you know, how they spoke. And so yeah, that was that. And then I did it last year. I'll be doing it this year and next year. And I've gotten to know more of the planning side as well, but the day itself is, you know, it's worth the year build up for me. You know, all the meetings that we have that go really late, and all the fundraising and all the stuff that we do is really worth it to just, you know, be out on the field and it's sunny and you're meeting people and talking to people and learning as much from them as they might from you. So to me, it's really valuable. I look forward to it all year.
Before going abroad for my Spanish major, so I went to Ecuador last summer. I think Dia de Fútbol was actually the only opportunity I had to speak Spanish for an entire day, and so to improve my Spanish skills that way, but also to just learn about another culture and have these conversations.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a way, kind of a mini trip abroad. It's a good opportunity for an exchange that goes both ways, because we share stories that we like with them and they do the same thing with us. When I was younger, of course I was admirative of my parents, but the people I would always look up to were my older cousins, for example, who were in their 20s, and I feel like that's the person I am to these children. When I come here, I kind of have a model, I kind of am a model for a day to them, and I think that's the most invaluable aspect of my experience during that day. Is really, they look up to me and they think, oh, I can go to college and I can be a good student, but I can also organize events for other people, and hopefully they get to be in the same place as I am someday. What I hope they take away from that is, from Dia de Fútbol, is that the campus is open to them, not only on the day of the event, but throughout the year, and that they are just welcome here as they would be anywhere else in the Chinatown community.
The Día de Fútbol began in the fall of 2007. It was my first semester at the college, and I had an idea to try to have an event that would bring the Latino community, local Latino community, to campus. I'm a soccer person. I play soccer, I coach soccer, I'm a soccer fan, and soccer is a universal language. I thought that it might be an interesting way to get to know the local Latino community. And that first time we had a handful of people show up and we played soccer. So we've done it every year since 2007. The year after that, we decided to make it a soccer clinic for the Latino youth.
To me, soccer is one of the only sports that kind of transcend national, borders. Yeah, national borders and geographical borders, and it's kind of a sport that's played around the world, and I feel it's a good way to bring people together.
Yeah, and even if you're playing, you know, in an informal game with a team of people you might not know or might have never met before, everybody knows what they're doing. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna play this position, you're gonna play that position. We're gonna do our thing. We'll laugh, we'll make jokes. It's like,
really amazing to watch.
Yeah, people just click.
Together.
Yeah,
it's very intuitive.
We've recruited students primarily from our Education Honor Society, as well as other students on campus who were interested in having a literacy activity prior to the soccer clinic here during Dia de Fútbol. And so this year, Pi Lambda Theta, the Education Honor Society, has done a book drive, and we have dozens, if not, I think somewhere between 150 to 200 books to donate and to give to the kids when they come here. And I think that's something that we hope to continue in the years to come. That, you know, it's more than just reading with them, but that hopefully they'll all be able to take home a book that is something that they enjoy and on a topic that they like, and that they're able to read with their family. And the books are in English and Spanish. To me that's a pretty interesting, you know, bilingual kind of skill that's being learned there, because I love telling people about how important it is to know multiple languages, especially from a young age. So I think that's a pretty valuable part. I wish I'd been able to participate in something like that when I was a kid.
I believe it was in the second year that we did the Dia de Fútbol, we were looking for ways to attract more participants. I'd been taking some of my students out to the Even Start program to volunteer and also to get to know the community, and so we had the idea to partner with them to try to bring more participants to campus. Particularly in the last 2 years, we've made a very concerted effort to make this a primarily student-run organization. We have a student organizing council that is running the event and running outreach activities and fundraising throughout the year. The Dia de Fútbol is an event that is completely paid for through donations, and we have kind of tripled and quadrupled our fundraising efforts and our outreach efforts as well.
The funny thing is, people think that Dia de Fútbol just takes place on the day of the event itself, which is not true at all, because we start planning in the fall and we don't stop planning until about 20 minutes before the day finishes. We visit churches, we put up posters in pretty much every central location in the surrounding counties.
We paint the counties with posters.
Yeah, we do. We have so many posters. Go and speak to schools. Professor Bunten has a lot of connections with ESL teachers at local elementary and middle schools, and just try to hit the schools and the churches mostly.
Yeah. There's something about being invited to an event, personally invited, that just makes people really happy. And so usually they show a lot of interest and are excited to come to the event.
Because we've been doing it for about 8 years now, that we have the kind of, community relationships in some places.
As a Spanish club, we try to help out as much as we can with Dia de Fútbol. And just last night we had a quesadilla fundraiser, and we go to town on the farmers markets, and that serves as both outreach and fundraising, because we can talk to the local community and let them know what we're doing, and hopefully they give us donations.
Yeah, this past one was really successful. We had one of our volunteers had suggested a little voting donation, so we had mason jars set up with famous international soccer players, and people could vote with change and dollar bills for who their favorite soccer player was. We actually did pretty well with that. Yeah, Mia Hamm won. A lot of people voted for Mia Hamm. Yeah.
Some of the fundraising events that we have are usually linked to an actual event that's going on. So, for example, in the fall, we had around Halloween, we had a reverse trick-or-treating where we would go door to door and give candy or cookie for donations. And the same thing happened in the spring, where we had a cookie fundraiser where we went and gave cookie to people for donations around Valentine's Day. And so we try to kind of piggyback on other events. And
the Dia de Fútbol is a collective operation, right? It would not be possible without dozens of hands and bodies involved in putting it together. So over the years, there are lots of different people who have helped to grow it to what it is now. People on campus, people in the community. Caitlin Thomas is someone who is an alum of the college who was a very key figure for the first years in helping us make the connections in the community. She was working with Even Start in Sudlersville and tied us in with them. And every year we have more people that show up for the Dia de Fútbol from the community. Every year we have more and more devoted students involved in it, and I think that the sky's the limit.